Hey guys, it's Keisha Nicole. And ladies, I'm always making sure you are elevating and growing in your life and your career. Well, today we are here with another candid conversation to talk about how the Houston Police Department can help you with job security, as well as hear from one of HPD's top women leaders about her experience in the force and the various opportunity HPD provides. So I want to introduce you to Assistant Chief at HPD, Chandra Hatchard. What's going on? Hi.
Hey, Keisha, what's up, everybody? Thanks for having me on the show today.
I want to start with let's talk a little bit about you, where you're from, what's your background.
Well, thanks for asking. So, I am originally from New York City. I'm actually from Brooklyn, born and raised, but my family are actually immigrants. So, they're from Panama. So,
Oh, wow.
yes, I know people always ask, do you speak Spanish? The answer is no, I do not. All of my family does, but I don't. I moved to Houston when I was about 18, 19 years old, and I've been a Houstonian ever since.
Wow. And what attracted you to the Houston Police Department?
So I've never thought about being a Houston police officer, but when I moved to Houston, I needed a job. And I tried a few part time jobs here and there. And I applied for a full time job working with the city of Houston. And the job that I got just happened to be with the Houston Police Department. I ended up working in the jail on night shift in a clerical position. And I worked that job while I paid my way through school. So I
Mm.
went to school in the daytime and in the evening time, and I worked at night. So the Houston Police Department and the city of Houston really helped me to start my career in law enforcement without even knowing it, because that was not one of my career goals. And just from
What was,
working with the police department, I met so many officers, all shapes, all sizes, all colors. And I said, you know what? They're just regular people like me. And from that experience, I felt like the Houston Police Department had a place for someone like me to come in and help people in the community that looked like me.
I know it's typically, from what we see, a male dominant role, right? A lot of people always see a lot of men in there. How did you come up in the ranks?
So I have came up through every rank on the Houston Police Department. Like I said, I started as a civilian employee working in an administrative capacity, and then I went through the police academy as a cadet. I became a police officer. I worked in patrol. I became a sergeant. I went back to patrol as a supervisor. I've worked all over the department, promoted to lieutenant. I worked in investigations. I worked in internal affairs. One of the things I love about the Houston Police Department is the diversity, all the different things that you can do while still working for the same employer. So I've tried out a little bit of everything, I've done it all. And then I became a commander. I worked at the training division, and now I'm an assistant chief.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. I know we have our misconceptions about police officers. I know growing up, it was like, oh my gosh, I feel loved, I feel protected by the police officers in the community. But then now there's this preconceived notion on what a police officer is or what they do because of what we see on TV, right? I do always say that Houston does have some phenomenal police officers here. What's been one of like the most challenging things for you, or maybe challenging assignments for you?
So every assignment that I've had its ups and its downs. It's definitely had its good points and the things that are not so popular, right? So when I
Mm-hmm.
started off as a patrol officer, I worked night shift. But I also worked on holidays and weekends. And so people don't really like those shifts. But I'm telling you, it gave me an opportunity to go to school in the daytime. It gave me some flexibility with raising my children. Definitely having young kids. People didn't mind keeping my kids at night when they were asleep, but in the
Mm-hmm.
daytime, everybody else was at work. So night shift really worked out. You talk about some of the challenges. Some of the challenges that I experienced were just like anybody else, just trying to figure out my place on the department. And I think the Houston Police Department is so diverse, again, that you can be who you are, be yourself, and bring what you already have, all of those experiences that you've had and engaged in life, bring all of that with you so you can help connect with the community because everybody has a different path.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of women are watching right now and are interested. Can you discuss your experience as a female in law enforcement?
So, Keisha, I really appreciate that question. because law enforcement is a male dominated field, but there is
Mm,
a place for women in law enforcement. Let me tell you what, as a woman in law enforcement, we communicate better, we communicate differently, we connect with people differently. We are a lot more nurturing in some instances and in some situations.
mm,
We deal with a lot of situations that involve children and
yeah.
youth, and having a woman on that scene sometimes provides a softer touch. But don't get it
Hmm.
twisted. There's another side to all of us. And we also know how to de escalate situations when we need to. We follow our training. We're very dedicated and committed and extremely hardworking. So, those are definitely some assets that women bring to the department, and the different perspectives that we all share. Women have a unique way of seeing things and handling situations that really helps to provide the best outcome for everyone
One,
involved.
I want to ask you like a personal question. When you don't feel like doing it, like some days we don't feel good all the time. I know, even though for my job, my career, there's some days I don't want to get up and I don't want to talk. But what keeps you going personally on those days when you don't feel like it?
So there's a couple of things that gets me going. Number one is God. I've been tremendously blessed by this opportunity. And I just think the higher up that I've promoted, my influence has increased. And there is someone either in this department or in the community that needs a smile. They need some encouragement. They need some support. And so that's what gets me up in the morning. When I go out to an event and I meet young girls who look up to me and say, wow, look at her. She's a police officer. I could do
Hmm.
that too. I think about myself as a little girl, not thinking that this was a job that would end up being for me. And so I use that to help motivate me and push me to keep going.
I love that. I love that. Now, as far as a hiring process or someone who wants to be a part of the Houston Police Department, what can they expect? What's the application process? What can or can't you can't have on your record? What's that process like?
Okay. So, Keisha, thanks for asking that question. There are several ways to get in. Anyone can go to hpdcareer.com and see the full gamut of what's required in order to become a Houston police officer. So, either 48 hours of college credit will get your foot in the door, or 18 months of active military service will get you in the door. 36 months, that's 3 years out of the last 4 years of full time employment will get your foot in the door as well.
Mm. Oh wow. This and that criteria is not, too far off where people can't apply. I thought it was honestly thought it was something different, but that's good to know because then it's going to encourage more people to want to apply for this position. Why should people join the Houston Police Department, specifically women and people of color?
Because the community that we deal with are encompassed and comprised of all kinds of people. A lot of times we do deal with people of color. Black and brown communities, unfortunately, have a lot of run ins and encounters with law enforcement. And unfortunately, a lot of women have issues with law enforcement or where they need law enforcement support and help. So, being able to have someone inside the department that looks like the community that we serve helps us to connect quicker and easier and relate to some of the issues that our community is dealing with. So not
Mm.
only do we need African Americans, people of color, and women, we also need Caucasian people to join the Houston Police Department because they have a unique perspective that needs to be heard as well. We just want to make sure that our department is as diverse as possible so that no matter what we deal with in the community, we have people inside our department who can speak to those experiences
Mm.
and make sure that we are supporting and encouraging everybody that's out there.
And I think it's so important for people to see themselves. You know what I mean? People that actually came from those neighborhoods and those communities and know that it's possible to not only just get up out there, but come back and help that community and police that community. So we appreciate you guys and thank you so much. Again, ladies, women, we need you in the law enforcement here in Houston. My girl Chandra Hatcher, thank you so much for tapping in with us. But I want to know, is there anything else you would like anyone else to know?
Yes, I want everyone to know that we are always accepting applications. We have 6 academy classes per year, and we are looking to fill each and every one of them. It's a great time to join law enforcement. It's a great time to be part of the change that you want to see in the community. So please consider this as a great profession for anyone who wants to get involved and looking for an exciting career.